Fighter of the Year. Tszyu. No other boxer in the world headlined 2 stadium fights in 2020. In August, Tszyu destroyed former world champion Jeff Horn.
He's an all-new Tszyu, and now he's a superstar. Tszyu, with the perfect boxing performance, has dethroned a legend in Townsville.
Amazing performance, Ben. Brilliant.
Then in December's Sydney Super Fight, Tszyu bombed Kiwi Bowen Morgan.
John Couchy has a decision to make here about the Kiwi Bowen Morgan, who went down hard. Tszyu pressing forward. That's enough, shot. That's enough. A dominant, destructive performance from Tszyu, and his world title shot could be next. He has blasted Bowen Morgan out of Bankwest Stadium.
For the second year in a row, Tszyu is Ozboxing's Fighter of the Year.
First, Happy New Year. This is the first video we have done, or we're doing this new year on Australian boxing. Got my colleague here, Big J, on the line. And we had some things to talk about before we did this video in regards to what's next for Tszyu. And frankly, if he is the Australian Fighter of the Year or best Australian 154 pounder. So, Big J, we're hearing that Tszyu and Dennis Hogan are in talks, according to the article I'm seeing here on Boxing Scene. And
yeah,
go ahead, I'm listening.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they're in discussion.
Yeah,
It says
that's right.
Go ahead, what were you saying?
Yeah, the announcement could be coming very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and this is going to be actually a really, really good fight for Tszyu. Dennis Hogan has fought for the WBO 154 title. Should have won it a couple of years ago against Hami Mungir. Everyone knows the history of that. Dennis Hogan's a long-established 154 fighter, and I'm looking forward to it. But again, and I need to stress this, Dennis Hogan's not ranked at 154. Ranked at number 8 WBC middleweight, but he's not ranked at 154.
Yeah,
So,
but he still is a 154 pounder. So, and we also can't forget that Hogan fought and was stopped by the much bigger WBC 160 pound champion Jamal Charlo. That was in December of 2019. So basically, by the time he gets back into the ring, he'll have over a year layoff.
Exactly, and he's pushing 36. He's 36 in March, so by this, he probably could be 36 by the time this fight happens, because it's mid-January now.
Yeah.
So if it happens anywhere between now and the next 2 months, he's going to be 36 and damn near 10 years older than Tszyu. Tim's 26, so.
Yeah, and by the way, as it stands right now on January the 14th, 2021. There is no rumors of any date right now. All we do know is that they're in talks to fight. So you would think that obviously it's not happening this month, January. It's not going to happen in February. So sometime in March, no later than April, especially when did Tim fight? That was December, right?
Yeah, December, yeah.
Yeah, that's about the turnaround time for a fighter, a ranked fighter to fight again. If they fight in December, normally around the end of mid-March, April or so, depending. So I'm guessing, they're trying to get this fight as soon as possible, because if they're having it in the stadium, as you've been telling me, wouldn't there be issues if it was in March or April?
Oh, definitely. Once the football season kicks off, but not for Tszyu. Tszyu's a completely different story, because remember, Australians fight on Wednesday night, not on Sunday afternoons. Like if George Cabos got Timo Lopez, that would be on a Sunday due to networks.
Actually, okay, I understand. Yeah, I got it now.
Yeah, on a Wednesday night, they can get a stadium like Horn versus Tszyu was on a Wednesday night in August, even though the football season was still happening, even though there was no crowds. A Wednesday's a lot easier to secure a stadium than it is on a Sunday during the football season. Sunday, you got no hope. So,
yeah, and because
that won't be a factor.
And because of COVID restrictions, fighters, from all promotions, from all countries can't move around, to fight who they want. So therefore, the rumors were that it was supposed to be Julian J. Rock Williams versus Dennis Hogan. That was supposed to be
Correct.
on the
Yeah.
December 26th edition of 2020 of PBC on Fox that covered that card. And Julian J. Rock
Didn't
came
The
down.
Rock get sick?
Yeah, it
Didn't he
came
get
down with COVID, and they
Yep.
basically never revisited, the fight. And I mean, now since it's looking like we're going to see Hogan versus Tszyu, and it makes sense, because even if he's not full-blooded, Australian, he still, is an Australian fighter, correct? You consider Dennis Hogan an Australian fighter?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's an Australian fighter. He's an Irish-born Australian fighter. I mean, I'm pretty sure that his children were born here. His wife is possibly from here. I hope I've got that right.
So it makes sense.
He's lived here for at least 10, 15 years. So
this is what we can look out. This is what we can look out for. Watch the WBO rankings over the next 3 weeks or so when they put out the new ones. And if you see Dennis Hogan ranked at 154 in the WBO, then that's pretty much a dead ringer that the fight is going to happen.
I wouldn't be surprised because Dennis does have a strong case for that. So
yeah, but that's usually how I can tell if a certain fight's going to happen. Like when I first saw the Canelo, like when the rumors of Canelo versus Kovalev was coming out or started, people were like, yeah, right, it ain't happening. But then when I saw Canelo was ranked by the WBO at 175 before the fight was being made official, and I was like, okay. And throughout the history of the rankings, you can pick up on a lot of things from that too. To see, because the fighters have to petition or write to the sanctioning bodies like, hey, I'm not going to be fighting at this weight anymore. Can you put me down at this weight? So we'll see. Now, as it stands right now, here are the 154-pound champions, of course. Jamel Charlo, WBC, WBA Super, IBF, and in my opinion, also has the trainer of the year in Derek James. You have Patrick Teixeira versus Brian Castano. By the way, if you want, not to get off track, but if you want a definitive boxing schedule, Dan Rayfield's Facebook page, he used to work for ESPN, but he was the one who did the schedule on ESPN. And it's the best boxing schedule you can have. And you can see it on his Facebook like page. So the Castano versus Teixeira fight, that is happening February the 13th on the Zone. Headlined by Jojo Diaz versus Shafakal Lord Rakhimov. How about that?
That's good stuff. That's good stuff to know. Just for the fans, when will the WBO update their rankings? Do they do it once a month or once a quarter?
No, it's once a month. All sanctioning bodies update their rankings once a month, but not at the same time. So, for example, the WBO may update their rankings on like the second week of the month. Depending. Yeah, well, but it depends. So right now, let's say, for example, if there was a championship fight involving major WBO ranking implications, then they would work their rankings around that. So new rankings, it's no set day that they come out every month. You just have to constantly, check. But normally, depending, like for example, the WBC, they send out a newsletter every month. You can go to WBCboxing.com or .org, I believe. Is what it's called, or you just look them up, WBC. And you can get on the newsletter to where every month they send you the updated rankings. The WBO, you have to go to their website. So the WBC, WBO, WBA, and IBF, they update their rankings all differently. So, for example, on my website, FightView360.com, it was difficult task to update the rankings because you can't update them all. You can't update them until all of them are updated. It's complex, but there's no set day. So you just have to go and check.
Yeah, but definitely after the Teixeira Castano fight, it would be a fair belief that they'll update the rankings after that fight.
Yes, probably that week. So basically, the beginning of February, don't expect for the WBO rankings to be updated. It's probably going to be like February the 15th. If the fight's on the 13th, they're probably not going to update it till probably like the 16th, 15th, 16th, 17th, something like that.
Yeah.
So it depends,
And the Hogan Tszyu fight won't happen by then. They won't happen that quick. March, probably April, possibly March.
And Tszyu is ranked number 2 by the WBO. Basically, he will be the fight between him and Dennis Hogan could very well be an eliminator. The WBO would have to allow it. Now it's complex because a guy like a Liam Smith who's ranked number 3 or Jarrett Hurd who's ranked number 4. They can appeal like, hold up, we wasn't Tim. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. By the way, ranked number 7 is a guy by the name of Jack Houquet who defeated Dennis Hogan, by the way, years back. So
Yeah,
he's
years
ranked
back.
number
How
7.
many years ago was that?
Let's see. I got it right here. 2015, unanimous decision.
Okay, well, that's like 6 years ago, so 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
who, in our
fair
last
enough.
video, I was saying that Tim Tszyu, if the other guys turn it down, me and Liam Smith with Jarrett Hurd, Abakram Matazaliev, Mahmoud, Banov, if
That
they turn,
Bakram is that the number 1 for IBF? Is that the same bloke?
yeah, so he's probably, that's why I say they go down the line, so it probably won't be him. But Tim Tszyu, put it this way, I look at it like this: if he fights Dennis Hogan, it's a very good fight for him, but it's hard to, it's a good step up fight for him. But I don't see it being an eliminator fight, a fight that's going to get him a title shot. I think he's going to have one more fight before the WBO make him mandatory.
Well, they made the Bowen Morgan fight an eliminator if he won it, which made absolutely zero
That's true,
sense.
but it wasn't a final eliminator. That's true. Well, we're going to have to see when they announce it, because I'm pretty sure they're trying to work on the way to make Tim Tszyu versus Dennis Hogan a final eliminator, to make them the mandatory for Castano and Teixeira. But remember, this is Castano's and Teixeira's. That's a mandatory. So whoever wins that will be able to fight a voluntary. And we've already talked about that. We don't see Tim Tszyu, getting, probably not getting a shot for a while, because Charlo and PBC are going to look to buy that belt. And if Castano wins, if Castano wins, who's a PBC fighter, the fight's Charlo Castano is definitely happening. And Charlo and whoever wins that fight will drop the belts and move up in weight. And Tim Tszyu will probably fight for a vacant title.
Yeah, which I really don't want that to happen.
I don't know. The writing's kind of looking on the wall, man.
It's the same situation with George Gambosis. If Imo drops the belt, George fights for a vacant title. It's like,
yeah.
Yeah, we don't want these blokes being paper champions. We want them beaten
email champions. Yeah, because it's looking like right now, I don't see Jarrett Hurd fighting Tim Tszyu. Liam Smith, possible.
You say that he's been sitting on a couch for like 10 months or whatever.
Yeah, he's about 200 pounds. So that's not even bullshit. And go check out his Twitter, his Instagram, if you're on Instagram, Jarrett Swift Hurd. He's about 200 pounds.
Jesus, I mean, he always just looks so in shape. He always looks so good. What the bloody hell happened?
Yeah, well, that them layoffs, man.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it comes down to self-discipline. But anyway, moving on. So what do you think? How do you think this fight's going to turn out? Because I want to hear your thoughts.
I mean, honestly, I'm not. Dennis Hogan is battle tested.
It is.
Now we know that Tim Tszyu is technically sound. He's a fundamentally sound
very
boxer.
technical sound.
But we haven't seen him tested. And Jeff Horn wasn't enough. We haven't seen Jeff Horn since. The man, I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I didn't say it then, but the man looks sick, during that fight. So it's hard to, I'm still giving it 50-50. This is one of those fights that if Tim Tszyu defeats Dennis Hogan, I'm going to be like, okay, all right, now I can start really matching you up. Kind of like with Ryan Garcia. I didn't give Ryan Garcia no real credit until he defeated Luke Campbell. That was his step up. This is the same thing.
And he got knocked on, to his credit, he got knocked on his ass, got back up and kept going.
Exactly. So, this is that fight for me.
Yeah, well, I see it. I mean, you got to look at the factors here. Dennis is damn near 10 years older than Tim.
He'll be 36 in March.
Yeah, 36 in March. Hasn't fought in over a year. Hasn't fought at 154 for damn near 2 years. Will probably be 2 years, because when did he fight?
April.
It was April
so
sometime.
2019. We'll get close to 2 years.
2 years, right? Charlo freaking annihilated him, which is just what happened to him. That was very unfortunate for him. So there's a lot of factors going up against Dennis, where Tim is on the ball, ready to go, young, hungry, had 2 fights and annihilated this competition. So
yeah.
I mean, you have to say Tim's a very strong favourite for this.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd like to see Dennis get up. That's just me. I mean, nothing against Tim Tszyu, but I just want to see Dennis get up. But because I think, like Anthony Joshua, what was the old mate that kicked the shit out of him?
Andrew Ruiz.
Mexican bloke. Yeah, when Luis, look how much better that made Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
So, You know, just like his father. His father lost to Vince Phillips in '97, and then he came back and be the best 140 pounder we've ever seen. So a loss could work in his favour. But I don't know. I think you'd have to go. Tszyu would be a strong favourite for this fight, considering all those factors. Dennis's age, his inactivity period, his last 2 fights were losses.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well,
that's just the way I see it.
Closing thoughts. I mean, right now we're still waiting for them to. You know, we don't have any news. We just know they're in talks.
Yeah, but it's going to be an excellent fight. I hope it does happen, because initially, Tszyu offered it to Hogan before that Williams fight was going to rock around. So it was probably going to happen if that didn't. So hopefully they can revisit this, get in the ring and get it going, because hopefully they'll do it in Brisbane, because with the COVID problems, I don't see it happening in Sydney. They've got a bit of a cluster going on at the moment. Melbourne, don't know. We'll see how the Australian Open turns out next month with all those people coming over. So we'll see how that goes. But they should probably put it in Brisbane, because Dennis is from there. But I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be there's a lot of positives to the fight. So, Dennis is an established 154er. Okay, he hasn't fought a couple of years, but it's a win-win-win-win-win. There's very, very little negative, if any negatives, to this fight. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fantastic, personally.
All right. Well, when we get some more news, we will be sure to come back and do another video. Also, we have some retro content from 2020 that we did that I wasn't able to upload. And right here, I pulled up your Twitter page on the screen, Big J. So go give Big J a follow at Old Mate Big J. I'm going to put the link down below in the description box. Of course, you can follow me at TstreeT for life, or just follow us at FightView360 on Twitter. It's a T-Street Controversy with Big J. Please subscribe.